And we're live on Let Me Ask You This. My friend Rob Bellamy bailing me out tonight. Thanks so much, dude, for coming on last minute.
Buddy, that's what I'm here for.
Appreciate it, man.
Not a worry.
So you have, let's see, film festivals, Comic-Cons, podcasts. How many podcasts do you currently run right now?
Right now, I'm part of 4 podcasts.
Okay.
There is the Movie Madhouse. That's
Yep.
the flagship one.
Okay.
Then there is Vicious Circle, which is with Sid Vicious, Sid Udi.
Yep.
There is another one called Bits Radio, and it's all about Canadian filmmaking.
Okay.
And then I help a buddy in California with his, where he has a digital magazine called MythWorks. And every month there's a member of the month that submits art, and I do a little interview of their member of the month for them.
And how long have you been doing, the different podcasts that you've been doing?
The Vicious Circle since September 1st of last year, so it's not even a year old. Bits Radio for about 2 years now. The MythWorks, it's been about 8 months, I think, off and on, because it started, it didn't, it started, it didn't. But the Movie Madhouse has been 7+ years.
7 years.
Yeah.
And where do you stream that to?
It's through Libsyn, so you can get it on Stitcher and iTunes and any kind of podcast search engine.
Okay. And it's you and how many other people are on there?
It started out with me and Jason and my buddy Mike, and then Mike decided to venture off into the world, and so we got replacement James, and my buddy Anthony pops in from time to time.
Okay. And what is the gist of the Movie Madhouse? What do you guys talk about?
Literally, it started out as self-promotion. It was because we started a film company and we wanted to promote it, so it's like, let's make a podcast on films. So we were pushing our own films, but it's evolved through time from a review show to it's just pop culture stuff. We pick a topic and we talk about it.
Interesting. So you don't pick a movie and review that or anything like that?
Not normally. We've done a couple.
Right.
And we do the thing we do every once in a while called a view and review. And it's basically we record our own audio commentary that you can watch the movie with.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So so you watch the movie? Oh, I see what you're saying. Because you guys don't stream to YouTube.
No.
Okay. So you watch it and then you just do the commentary towards the movie, so somebody else could like pop it in at the same time.
Exactly. We started out the whole thing. We're sitting here at the Warner Brothers logo and we're pushing play now, so people can cue it up.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I thought about doing that too, but like actually watching the movie, and stream it live. But I wasn't sure what the legalities of that would be.
Yeah, that could get you in a bit of trouble.
Because I see people do that. Like, like you see people do like a review. There's like the Saved by the Bell guy, where it's like Zach Morris's Trash, I think it's called, and he talks about it's like a 10-minute clip about Zach Morris, and I don't know how they get away doing that.
There's a thing called fair use, so I know you can use clips of stuff.
Okay,
but to stream a whole thing, I don't think.
Right.
Because I know when we do our Comic-Con, every once in a while we'll bring in a feature film. Like we brought in Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yep.
And we had to have a screening fee. Like we paid a screening fee.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, who do you pay that to?
There is a company in Toronto that handles royalties in Canada.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. And then the Sid Vicious one. How did you get hooked up with that? Because that's interesting.
Yes. It was a gentleman got a hold of me out of the blue because he knew about the Movie Madhouse and wanted me to interview people that he knew.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, no problem. Sid, on the other side, was talking to a friend of his and saying, look, I want to do a podcast because I want to get my book out there and I want to clear up some facts and some stuff. And so Sid's friend and this guy I knew touched base, and this guy said, well, here's Rob. He's a podcaster. So Sid and I talked a little bit. We did one little stint on the Movie Madhouse. He came in for like an interview kind of thing almost. And then I drove down to Arkansas and we started recording.
Oh, so you drove to Arkansas to meet with him?
Yes.
For the first time, but now you guys just use the same platform that we're using right now.
Yes. I've been down there about 3 times. We prefer to record live.
Okay.
It's a lot better, but we do use this.
Now, when you guys do it, typically, is it just audio or is it video as well?
We do normally just do audio.
Oh, okay.
We have taken some video. We do some pictures every once in a while, but it's normally just an audio podcast.
And what do you use for that? Like Skype? Do you use Skype for that? If he's somewhere else, or
We do use Skype sometimes, or we'll use this. We'll use StreamYard.
oh, interesting. Well, that's pretty. And how has that been going? You guys, what do you guys usually do? Like an hour?
Oh, it's about a half-hour show.
Oh, half hour. Okay.
Yep. We pick a little topic or a little section of his life, and we talk about it. And then at the very end, we have a call-in question, so people can call in, talk to Sid, ask a question, and we throw it in the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, how do you get that? How do you get that out there? What do you use? Facebook for them to check it out, or for the call in?
For call-ins, anywhere. Like people are message on Instagram, we'll tell them about it. Literally, we just had a 10-year-old. It was his birthday. Well, it's his birthday in I think 4 days, and we got a hold of him on the weekend so he could ask a couple questions. So
really,
that was his birthday present.
Yeah. Now, how does he even know who Sid is if he's 10?
His dad, they watch a lot of wrestling.
I guess that would be kind of akin to me, like asking like Mickey Mantle a question when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Because even when he was on camera, he had his Sid Vicious figure right beside him.
Oh, really?
Yep. And apparently, since then, he's drawn a card for Sid and has watched a whole bunch of more matches of Sid's.
Oh, that's pretty. Now, did you know of Sid before you got hooked up with it?
Oh, yeah.
Like, were you a fan or?
I followed wrestling in the 90s. Oh yeah, I knew who he was.
Okay.
Yep.
So what were you like when someone called you up and like, hey, do you want to do a pot? And you're like, nah, I'm already doing 3 of them. And they're like, well, it's with Sid Vicious. And you're like, well, maybe I will do another one.
Yeah, that's pretty much the conversation. It's like, do you want to try doing a podcast? It's like, I already do a bunch of podcasts. Well, this is with the wrestler. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I can. And then found out who it was. It's like, damn straight.
Right.
Yep.
So what was it like when you first met him? Was it exactly what you had? Did you have a picture in your mind of how it was going to go?
Yes and no, because it definitely didn't go like that. My cousin came down with me, and we met him at the hotel because we had to go get him a laptop. So he drove up to the parking lot and said, "Okay, guys, follow me over to Walmart." So that's the first time I physically met him, was in that parking lot.
Really?
Then we got to Walmart and we walked down and did some shopping and stuff, and then finally went back to his place, and that's when we really started talking.
Okay. And what do you talk about that first meeting? You guys aren't doing the podcast then. Are you just discussing what it's going to look like?
Oh no, we actually as soon as I got there, we started setting up equipment and
really
chatted as we went. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And what was the initial meeting? What was it like? Were you nervous?
I don't think so. I know, like, as soon as he pulled away, I marked out a bit. It's
okay.
Like, holy crap, that was Sid. My cousin and I just stared at each other. It's like, that was him. But the drive over to Walmart calmed me down, and it was fine after that again.
That's cool.
I had my little mark out moment.
So how do you know what to talk about? Does he give you the subject, or do you pick the subject?
Both.
Okay.
The basic premise of the show is just his history and his life. So we'll pick different sections of it. And with his wrestling career, we've been kind of going in order, and we'll just take a chunk of it. But he'll come up with topics, and like the next one we have to record is all about promoters and indie promotions and little signings and stuff like that, because there's been a lot of rumors flying around about no-show Sid and stuff like that. So he wants to kind of set some rumors straight on that.
Oh, interesting.
But that was one he brought to the table. It's like, yeah, definitely we got to do it.
Right, because I'm sure you probably you wouldn't feel comfortable bringing that up, would you?
Oh no, I do.
Okay. Oh really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because that's
I feel like I would like, even when I have people on like right now, and I know something about them negative, I won't bring it up unless they do. Because I'm not trying to have a negative conversation or whatever. But I could see that being, if you're trying to do a good podcast that people want to listen to, then you have to be authentic.
And see, that's just it with Sid. I think that's what has made me become more friends with him than just podcast people. Like he's one of my best friends right now because of the fact that he is so honest and blunt.
Yep.
And he likes the fact that that's what I do too. because the first meeting we had, it's like, okay, we're going to hit areas I don't know if you want to talk about, like Arn Anderson, like steroids, like these things. And I need to know how you want to approach them.
Okay.
So yeah, we had talks about that. We had talks about all the little things.
Can you ask him to give me a workout program? Because I'm trying to get in shape here.
I can definitely bring that up to him.
I mean, he seemed like now. Okay, I want to know about the softball. Was he a big softball guy, or was that just a rumor?
He loves softball.
Okay.
But him leaving the wrestling to go play it is all rumor.
Okay.
I
don't think I read. I just read that he was like big into softball, like men's softball, like competes at a high level.
He's huge, and he did play a year professionally. There's only been twice that he has played softball, and I'll use air quotes, during wrestling.
Okay.
The first time was after his lung injury. He went in surgery, had part of his lung removed, so he's recuperating, and he went back to WCW, and they said, no, you're not big enough yet. Go back out and work more. So part of that for him was playing softball.
Okay.
And he even says in one of the podcasts, he's not sure who stooged him on, but someone told that he was playing softball, and Ole came up to him and said, "You're playing softball? Okay, you're going to lose to Luger for 26 seconds." And it's like, you pay me. I don't care. You want me to lose? That's what I'll do. But it was strictly exercise for him.
Right.
To try and to get that chest area built up again.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. I mean, I play softball. You could literally have a broken leg and still play.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it takes a lot of energy, a lot of physicality.
He was DHing too. So and then the second time was his contract was, oh my gosh, and I wish I could remember. He was either leaving WWF for WCW or vice versa. But there was 3 months left on the contract. He wasn't allowed to wrestle. So,
really?
Yeah. So he was done. So he went out and he played some softball. But people said, oh, look, he left wrestling to play softball. But no, he was just waiting for his contract to end.
Now, I know his son, Frank, I think his name wasn't he on Big Brother?
Yes, he was.
Do you guys ever talk about that at all? Because I'm fascinated by Big Brother.
Oh, yeah. We talked about it a little bit because I didn't know.
Okay.
And he was the person that brought it up to me. And I know what it was is I work with a woman, and I was telling her, this is when we were like episode 8 or 9, like it was still new. And I said, yeah, I got to go to Arkansas this weekend. She goes, what's in Arkansas? And it's like, oh, I do a wrestling show with a podcast with a wrestler named Sid Vicious. And she goes, I don't follow wrestling. I said, yeah, his real name's Sid Udi. And she kind of waited. And she looked at me. She goes, wait a minute. Is that Frank Udi's son? And I go, I don't, he has a son named Frank. Where do you know Frank? And she goes, Big Brother. He's been on
right.
And so then she goes, he was such a dick. And I go,
oh, I like Frank.
I will let Sid know.
Does he talk about about his experience? I would love to get Frank on this show. Can you make that happen?
I've never spoken to Frank or Gunner. I've
really?
Yep. I just focus with Sid because it's his show and it's
right.
It's his thing. So that's the only people I've spoken to.
Okay. Now, how big is he?
At least 6'7", I would say.
6'7"?
Yeah.
Wow.
My cousin went with me, and I have a picture somewhere. But my cousin's touching on 6'1".
Okay.
And Sid is still a good deal taller than him.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I think I would have been nervous. I just know the encounters that I've had with people where in the beginning, like for the first half hour, you're a little nervous, right? Because you want to make sure you don't say the wrong thing. But then eventually,
when we were shopping, I guess I was a bit on guard for that part of it. But then we got back to his place, and he opened up, and then it was so much easier just chalking back and forth.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And how many episodes have you guys done so far?
What are we at? 36.
Is it once a week or?
Yeah, once a week, every Sunday at 2:00 Central Standard Time.
Okay, and is that live or no?
We've done a couple live shows, but then what we've done is taken the audio and released it as our show.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like the last 2 episodes actually were a live feed we did. We were on for about an hour, and so we broke it into 2 episodes.
Okay. Now, you said that you said you're part of 4 podcasts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't mention the 5th one, COVID Con,
Is that a
wrestling
podcast?
bookmarks.
That's not a podcast.
I think so. It's something.
It's more like a vlog because it's video.
It's a I guess because it's videos. Wait, so is this not a podcast? My show?
And see, different people call it different things. To me, a podcast is something you put on your radio, you pop in
Right.
your earphones, and you walk and listen. So to me, it's audio.
I think I have to learn how to extract the audio and send it somewhere and let them like disseminate it to other platforms, which I haven't figured out how to do that yet.
And that's where our platform Libsyn comes in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should I do that too, or
it can't hurt? Like you have a lot of content, so it would cost you a bit of money to get the bandwidth you want, but yeah. It's definitely another way to get out there.
Right. That's interesting. Did you see did you happen to catch my show last night?
No, I wanted
my 5-minute show I did.
Yeah, I wanted to see the poem.
Oh yeah. You can check it out somewhere, but I thought it was pretty good.
I'm anxious because it's 80s poem, and that's what I want to hear.
No, it was I tried intertwining like sports and 80s TV. And I had like 2 hours to write it, but yeah. So okay, so let's talk about COVID Con. How did that come out? How did that come about?
Sid's been working on his book with a new author named Kenny Casanova.
Yep.
And so I got talking with Kenny about him and about the book and everything, and we just started chatting. But then he mentioned this idea, like he mentioned it to you,
right.
We have this big show with all these people, and it's like, sign me up, dude. I'll help any way I can.
Right. Okay.
That's literally it.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean that was a really great time. That was a really great experience, and I've been actually thinking about like moving forward for the future because there's a lot of conferences that have been canceled, right? Like virtual, a lot of conferences in general. Trade shows have been canceled. Conferences have been canceled. Comic-Cons have been canceled.
Yep.
And I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder if there's a way to do, like a virtual conference for, if there's a tech conference, and now you bring in the guest speakers that typically were going to be there anyway, and you put the vendors between the speakers, you build an audience, and you make the vendors pay for airtime, and you build the audience, that's going to be there watching. Because I feel like what we pulled off at COVID Con could be used in other sectors as well.
Oh, I do. I believe it. Honestly, I do.
Because I mean, we had 50 plus people talking over a 3-day span, right?
Yep.
And I think we maybe had 2 people that couldn't get on, maybe 3.
Yeah, and one of them could get on. You just couldn't hear him.
Right. So
poor Brian.
I mean, if you think about that, like that's pretty good numbers
for the amount of time we were on air. Absolutely.
So I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder if that's something that will be the future. I don't know what the future is going to look like, but I do think that's something that's interesting.
Absolutely. I think this is going to stick around well beyond the quarantine.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I don't think it's going to replace anything. I think once we can go back to live shows, you're going to see them just flare up again, like big time and take over again. But I don't think this format is going anywhere.
Now, how are you guys doing where you're up in Canada?
Yes.
And I think you were showing me how many people are there, but how many people are infected? Are people back to kind of normal life now or not really, with the weather getting nicer?
See, we're in a weird pocket because we have Windsor, we have Sarnia, and we have London right around us, all within an hour. Okay. And then about 2 hours down the road is Toronto, and Toronto is a hotbed right now. And the London and Windsor areas are still a little hot. Right now, Chatham-Kent, the area I live in, we have 5 cases.
Okay. Wow. 5 cases, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So are people like just going out and about, or?
And see, that's just it. We're still somewhat sticking to the guidelines because so many people pass through here from Windsor to London.
Oh, okay.
We're literally on the highway, you know.
I had to go to a computer store yesterday, which I'm still freaked out about because I was running out of memory on my computer. So I wanted to go get my computer upgraded, to get a new SSI drive or SSD drive, whatever it's called. So I go in this little tiny shop and I had my mask on, but the guy didn't have his mask on. Right. And we were probably like 8 feet apart. Like I just put the computer on the counter. I walked back. Then I went outside for a little while. And then of course today I'm like, oh, I think I got a sore throat. Like I'm not, I'm like freaking out about it now. I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. It's like I'm having like regrets from like, in college when you do something stupid when you were drunk.
Yep.
That's how I'm feeling right now. I'm like, I should not have done that. I should not have gone in there with that random guy. That's how I'm feeling. Unfortunately,
you won't know for a week or so.
Right. I won't know.
Anything you're feeling now is either from something else or psychosomatic.
It's absolutely psychosomatic.
Because I've done that.
When a couple years ago, when I got diagnosed with being a hypochondriac, I read a bunch of books on like psychosomatic, like stories about people. It is unbelievable what the mind can do to the body. I read stories about women who can convince themselves that they're pregnant and they end up with the pregnant belly when they're not really because they convince themselves. So their body starts producing, whatever chemicals it takes and they get the whole belly, and it's just crazy how much the mind can take over the body and make you, show symptoms of something that you might think that you have when you really don't.
Almost 2 years ago, I developed anxiety, and I mean huge, to the point where my mind would not shut off. And one night I woke up about 3 a.m. I was a little nauseous. I was sweating like crazy, but yet I'm laying right in front of the air conditioner. Right. Went to the bathroom, coming back, I started getting dizzy. And I'm thinking, this is like a heart attack or something. I laid back in front of the air conditioner, couldn't cool down. I couldn't catch my breath. So I ended up going to the hospital and they said, dude, you're fine.
Yeah, I've done that. Like I probably used to go to the ER like 30 times a year.
Yeah.
Like for random, I'd go there if I was fine, just to make sure that make sure that I was fine. But that's one of the problems that I've been reading about with hospitals, how they're losing money because no one's going anymore. And I think it's directly related to me because I just don't go because I'm afraid to go because, like if I'm like, oh, I think I'm having a heart attack, it could be anxiety. The heart's racing. And then I go, I'm not going to go because I don't want to get the coronavirus. So I just stay home instead.
So you were keeping them in business.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I would go to my primary like twice a week, maybe like twice. There was a pocket of time where I was going twice a week.
Really?
Yeah.
But see, I'm always of the mindset it's better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
And that's where the anxiety has been killing me because I experience it maybe twice a day. Something will go on inside me and I'll go, nope, that's not real, and I got to squash it. I've only gone back a second time because I got done work. I used to work midnights. Got done work one night at 7 a.m. I came home. I tossed on a video game. I'm sitting there playing, and I lost all the feeling in one side of my face, and then I couldn't lift my right arm. And I'm going, wow, that's like some stroke shit going on there. So I went in, and they said, dude, you're fine.
That's what I'll tell you. If I were ever rich, I would have a medical facility in my house.
Yeah, there would be a doctor.
I'd have an MRI machine, an X-ray machine, and a doctor on call. That way, like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson had his own doctor. I mean, he killed him, but he had his own doctor.
See, so is it a good thing to have your own doctor?
I don't know, but that would be pretty cool, right? Every day you could just get checked, make sure everything's good to go. It's like getting your car tuned up before you go out on the road every day.
Yeah, see, now that's true too.
You
just got to sticking the right oil in there.
Exactly. What so back to COVID-Con, was there anyone that you were the most excited to talk to? I know you get to talk to DDP.
Actually it was Gangrel.
Oh, really? Interesting.
David Heath, yeah. I loved his character. And I don't know if you should. I showed off my tattoo because I have, where is it?
Do you have a Gangrel tattoo?
Well, not really. What it is, Gangrel is actually a tribe or a clan of vampires from a game called Vampire the Masquerade,
Okay.
and it's by White Wolf. This is the White Wolf logo because we played Vampire the Masquerade for about 5 years straight. Every weekend, this group of us got together and played it. My character was a Gangrel, so I kind of
That's
like that character.
that's gonna be out of my realm.
It's you ever played D&D?
Maybe like one time I think I like rolled dice once and I picked being a dwarf. I think it was.
Okay, dude, I've only ever played it once too. Don't worry, but it's like that. But what you do is you play a vampire in the modern world.
Wait, what is it called?
Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a wicked game, and the way we ran it was just incredible. So we had a blast. Almost 5 years, 4.5 years we played.
That's interesting. I guess that's kind of like fantasy football, is it?
Exactly with vampires.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, okay. So that's who you were most excited to talk to.
I think so. You know, it was kind of a candy store situation because
Right.
Bushwhacker Luke, DDP, Lanny Poffo, like it's all these people. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you pick one?
Lanny Poffo was pretty cool. That was pretty interesting. Only because, I mean, obviously, I loved that era with I liked him when he was leaping Lanny Poffo because I love that gimmick when he would do the backflip off the rope. But just the fact that he was Randy Savage's brother, I mean, that's pretty unbelievable.
I liked the genius. I liked when he read the poems, and then flung them out on the frisbees. That was cool.
Was he not doing the poems when he was leaping Lanny? I thought he was.
I'm not 100% sure. I definitely know he did it as the genius.
I know he did it as the genius. Yeah, I think he
Wait
was still doing it when he was leaping Lanny.
I think Leap and Lanny, they were on the frisbee, but when he did the genius, it would come out on scrolls.
Oh, that's what it was. Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah, so he was kind of like a mid Carter, but that was cool that he came on.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I just love hearing him talk. I mean, he's a great talker. I also like talking to RD Reynolds. He does the wrestle crap, I think it was.
Oh, was he on the first part?
Was that RD Reynolds? I think so. He was on. Yeah, I talked to him for one of the segments.
Okay. That one I don't remember.
Okay. I think that was him. Yeah, I think it was him. But yeah, no, that was cool. And then I wanted to see Brian Knobs. I thought that would have been pretty cool.
Oh, dude. I felt so bad for Brian. We literally
because the connection seemed fine when he got on, right?
Yeah, like we did a test for about 20 minutes before I went on.
Right.
And he's walking around. He's going, how about I sit on the couch or sit on the chair? No, I'm going to go outside. And we were chatting and he checking all the angles and stuff. And it's like, okay, perfect. I'll talk to you in a bit. We did the, I think it was Lanny. And then Brian came on. And boom. And no sound, nothing.
Yeah.
4 or 5 times until finally Kenny came on and pretended to be Brian Knox.
I know. Sometimes, well, that was the one thing was when there was a bad connection and you had to fill time. And you have all these people watching you.
Yeah.
You got to try to figure. So I think the next show is what, June 14th?
Yes.
So I think for that show, I'm going to make sure that I'm prepared with whatever. I'm going to make sure that it's in writing. And it could be, maybe I'll write some jokes or whatever, but I'm going to make sure that I'm prepared if that does happen again.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting there twiddling my thumbs.
A little bit of filler.
Yeah. I mean, I'll write like a 10-minute poem on like 80s wrestling or something.
There you go.
See? Maybe I could do something like that. But yeah, no, that was a great event. And the next one we have coming up is going to be pretty good.
I am excited for this one. Yeah, it's looking like a great show.
I mean, if everyone who is being talked about shows up, it's going to be incredible.
Yep.
And it's going to be compacted to 6 hours. Is it 6 hours or I think it's 8? Actually, it's 8 hours, right? 2 to 10.
I think we bumped it to 8.
Right. And now we're going to and then we have the audience from Fight TV again.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool.
Yes, very, very cool.
So yeah, so this time at the end of the show, I think you and I are gonna have to make sure that we plug our stuff.
100%.
Because last time I was just excited to be there.
And that's what it was for me too. I know there was a couple times I even kind of not zoned out, but I was watching the person, I was reading the questions coming up, and I'm trying to watch the feed because one of those moments I remember vividly was Lanny Poffo. He made the joke that something about a film and it was so bad that everybody walked out, but they were on a plane. And he paused and he goes, "Get it? They were on a plane." And that's the part I heard because I was focusing on the chat.
Okay.
It's, oh yeah, that was funny. And
Because you're using 2 monitors. Is that why?
yeah, now I'm using 3. So this is going to be even more crazy.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to try to get Oscar is the guy who I want to try to get on for a one-on-one if we can figure out his internet connection.
Exactly. That was the toughest part for him.
Because I mean the fact that he has that rap background from the 80s and that he grew up in New York, so he knows all those guys that I probably like Run DMC and LL Cool J and all those guys. I think his story is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to get him for, an hour and a half to just talk about, what inspired him to want to do that, and had he, ever tried making it in the rap industry as opposed to wrestling.
And see, this is where we have a problem because we're interviewers, so we got questions. We want to talk to them, but then we get into COVID Con and it's not about us anymore, which drives me crazy because I got questions, but I got to put the questions from the fans in there.
Well, that right, and I don't think the fans understand that. Sometimes I don't think all the questions were coming up on the feed.
Really?
I don't think so because I was streaming to YouTube and 3 Facebook pages and Fight TV. So on Fight TV, they can also comment too, but I don't think we were getting those comments.
I was talking to StreamYard, and unless it's a public forum, I don't think you'll see the questions because my personal page is private, right?
Right.
And I was streaming to my personal page, and I could see them typing, but the questions never came up in the feed.
Huh. Okay. I am excited to see Kamala.
Yes.
That's going to be one. That's one that I'll be pretty excited for.
Yes.
I actually just picked up the book too, so I'm going to start reading that pretty soon.
Because I can honestly say, legit, I've never seen any video of him talking. So to me, Kamala is silent. So,
that's a good point. I don't think I've ever seen a video of him talking either. Yeah,
him talking at all is gonna be brand new for me.
I think that would be really cool if they could get him and Coco Beware on the same screen.
Yeah,
right. Because they're like best friends, so that would be pretty cool. Now, did you start watching wrestling in the 80s or?
Yeah, back when I was really young, because
like 85,
maybe even a hair before.
Okay,
like 81, 82, because we were watching AWA and UWF.
So you didn't have the WWF?
We were watching some of it.
Okay,
but WrestleMania hadn't happened yet.
Okay,
right, and we were more of the AWA UWF because we could get it on our TV. My cousin used to live with me at that time, so we would watch it together on this little TV I had in my room.
Okay. Now you grew up in Canada?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you a really bad stereotype that I heard when I was a kid. I heard in Canada that there's no bathrooms in Canada and that everyone has to use the fire hydrant. That's obviously not true, right?
Unless you're in the upper end of the city, we try to fancy up the hydrants in our area. Like sometimes we'll have a bigger one that has more access around.
I want to know where that even came from.
I have no idea. I have not heard that until.
You never heard that before?
Nope.
I wonder if I made that up.
I've heard the living in igloos, sucking back maple syrup, riding polar bears. Those are the ones that I've heard all the time.
Okay. Now, how far from Calgary are you?
Quite a distance.
Oh, you are. So you wouldn't be like a Stampede fan, or?
Oh yeah, like I did see some of it after. We used to do tape trading,
Oh, that's
and
right. Yep.
so I did see some of it, but I could never follow it.
The tape trading stuff was pretty fascinating when we
Yeah,
were talking to who was it? Was it Nikita Breznikov?
him and I was talking with Kevin Madman Pondo.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that was pretty interesting because I had never heard of that before.
Yeah,
And I guess that makes sense, right? Because everything was regionalized. So you would just trade, you would just put ads out. And now, would people pay for those or you just
oh
trade
yeah,
them?
oh yeah. So, well, sometimes you traded them, but
Okay.
sometimes you'd buy like 7 or 8, and then those are the ones you would trade out to your friends and get different ones.
I'm wondering why I didn't do that. Like, I always think of like weird ways to make extra money. That when I was 9 years old, why wasn't I thinking of that? I should have.
There was 4 of us in school. We would each order. I think there was a 10-pack. So I would order 10, my cousin would order 10, my buddy Mike would order 10, and we'd have 40 VHS tapes by the time we were done, and we would just swap them around.
Okay. The one thing that I did when I was, what was the name of that company? Remember the CDs that you could get in like Parade magazine for like a penny? You could get like 20 CDs for a penny.
Columbia House.
Yes, right. So I would do that. I'd get the CDs for like 1 cent, and then I wouldn't pay for the rest of and I would just sell them in school for like $5 each or whatever.
Yep.
Because I was like 11. So what were they gonna do?
Exactly. Yep.
So I wonder no wonder why they went out of business, because that's probably what everyone did.
So you kept the hospitals in business and you drove Columbia House out of business.
Exactly. Yep.
Dude, look at you.
I know. Look at me. I'm like saving the economy one company at a time.
Exactly.
How did they think that was going to ever catch on? They would sending you the CDs for free, and then just hoping that you would pay for them.
Because usually, if you're an adult, you're stuck in a contract, so then
Right.
they can come back at you for what was it, 5 more you had to buy for $500 each or something like that. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous. It was like $30 each, I think it was, something like that. Yeah.
So they would charge you 30 times 5 and say,
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. Right.
So,
and I guess if enough people, they had to put that in there. Like they had to factor that in, that people just wouldn't pay.
they must have.
And right, so like, okay, if we just charge this much money, then we'll be able to get 20% of the people won't have to pay us.
Loss prevention,
That's. I wonder if I should do that with something. Just like print up a bunch of stuff and send it out for free.
Cereal boxes.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you what, if I could find some, old school, some 80s wrestlers that want to give me their licensing, I'd make cereal boxes for them.
That would be cool.
Because people want something to put their cereal in. It's like it's a major problem. You bring your cereal home and you got this dumb looking box.
I look at
you want to put it in a cool box.
I look at my shredded wheats, go, what the hell?
Right. Like, what is this?
I'm going to set this out by the hydrant. Someone else can have it.
Right. Obviously, you're referring to my Trump cereal boxes that no one's buying right now, by the way. I have like 44 left on eBay. And I'm kind of surprised that no one's buying them right now. But
I kind of am too,
well, especially now. Like I thought now it'd be polarizing enough that people would start to buy them, but hasn't really been the case.
Yep, you'd either have hate mail or you'd sell out.
Well, I made them ambiguous enough that you couldn't tell if you owned it, if it was for or against, which I think could have been a problem. Now, like in hindsight, I'm like, I probably should have made them one way or the other. That way you would have like complete buy-in from like one side.
Dude, I think they look amazing.
No, they're great. I mean, I love them. Trust me, they're all over my house. Like I use them. And I'll tell you what I use them for. So I have I put cereal in there. I use one box for Ritz crackers. They go in there. I actually used one for a mouse trap. They catch mice really well.
Really?
I had a drawer in my house where the mice were coming in my house. They were going in this drawer every night. So took everything out of the drawer. I put the box inside the drawer with a mouse trap inside the box, and they would just go in there, and it was like a death trap. They'd go in the box and they wouldn't come out.
Sounds about right.
So I had like a month where I advertised them as mouse traps.
That's amazing.
So you just got to market it correctly.
Did anybody buy them as mousetraps?
No,
No.
the best way that I sold them was as gift boxes around Christmas.
Oh, see, now that's cool. Yeah.
You can put a T-shirt in there or wraps, especially for like those Yankee swaps at like companies. Do you guys do those up there?
Yankee swaps?
You never heard of that?
No.
Is that an American thing?
Might be. What's a Yankee swap?
It's where like let's say there's 10 people in an office. They all have to buy a gift, and they for like $20. So everyone brings in the gift wrapped up already. Then you draw numbers. So number one can pick the gift, and then number two picks a gift, and then they decide if they want to keep that gift or go after or trade it for number one's gift.
Okay, that sounds like a mix. We play what's called Secret Santa, where everybody gets a name and draws, but our family does something similar.
Okay.
Except when we draw, we don't open. We can fondle the crap out of it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right, and then decide if we want the one in front of us or do we want the one.
You know what? That's probably a better way to do it because there's nothing. It's so stupid when you have to open it up. Because then it's it determines like what number you pick. But I like that you get to look at it and then decide which. I do like that. That's actually a better way to do it. You can weigh it, feel it, grip it, throw it, whatever you got to do.
There's a whole lot of trading afterwards, but that's the fun part is what you get.
Right. Yeah, and that's pretty cool. What's the best Christmas present you ever received?
Actually,
like as a kid, not as an adult.
Oh, as a kid. Crap. I think it would have to be the Nintendo I got.
Oh yeah, right. That's a pretty good one.
That's the one that jumps out at me the most. Because I remember I got it, and then I ended
up Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt.
Yep. And then I went to Toys R Us and bought Xenophobe because I used to play it in the arcade.
Okay.
And it was an amazing game in the arcade, and it sucked on Nintendo. And I was mad that I bought it.
Yeah, that was it. I always wondered why. I noticed that with Nintendo that the games in the arcade version would always be harder than the Nintendo game, the console version.
I think it was just because they had more processing power in the arcade.
Oh, okay, I could see that.
That's my guess. I don't know that for sure.
Like Super Mario Brothers, for instance, I could never beat it in the arcade. Like I think it was like World. I think it was 6-3, maybe.
Now I also think they tweak the arcade a bit to make it a little more difficult, so you have to pump in more quarters.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I think it's a combination of both.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, because the arcade version, I can never get past 6-3.
Yeah.
For whatever, like I could not. There was like one jump that you could not make this one jump.
I was like that with Golden Axe. Altered Beasts, the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
I would get, I think, 2/3 of the way through, and then it would just stump me, and I would just start feeding it. Freaking.
What was you'll know this game? What was the game where it was there was like a wizard, an elf,
Gauntlet.
Yes,
yep.
Gauntlet.
Red elf is about to die.
That was a great. Oh man, that was a great game.
I actually have it for PS4 now. It's
they make it for PS4.
Yeah, what's it called now? It's Gauntlet Massacre Edition or something like that.
Is it the same premise?
Same premise, but the graphics are a whole lot better and the story's a lot better.
I kind of like the old graphics though.
It's still the top-down view.
Okay.
But the areas that you go through are better.
What was the idea of the game again? I remember the music.
I don't know if there was an actual thing. You just had to go through levels and not die.
Okay.
That's all I remember.
Yeah, that was the other game I liked was do you remember the game Rampage?
Oh my god, yes.
Right?
With George and Lizzie. Yeah, oh yeah.
Where you could like eat the people in the building.
And it was neat. Did you ever see the movie?
No, but that was was the Rock in that?
Yep.
Was it good?
It's really good.
Really? I gotta watch it.
Yes. There is an Easter egg right at the very beginning. Not a lot of people got
Okay.
because in every home version, it had the three of them. It had Lizzie, it had George, and what was the name of the alligator or the wolf?
Wolfie?
Ralph. For some reason, I'm thinking Ralph. I don't know. I can't remember. But
Okay.
every home version had three, except Atari. When the Atari released theirs, they had a bonus character of a giant mouse, like a rat, that you could storm through the city in.
Okay.
So at the beginning of Rampage, they're up in the space station, and there's a giant rat in the space station. So it's a cool little Easter egg just to the Atari game.
Right. Oh, was it Larry the rat?
I can't remember the rat's name at all.
I'm looking at it right now. It says Larry.
Was it Larry?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the wolf was Ralph.
Yep. No, you're right. That's a great memory. No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. The wolf was Ralph. Yep. George, Lizzie, and Ralph.
There we go.
It's a weird name. I don't get George for King Kong, but for the gorilla. But
no,
that was great. The other game that I loved was Pitfall for the Atari 2600.
Yes.
Could never get past the alligators.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, the Pitfall had probably like a top 5 theme music.
The one I used to love was Space Invaders or Galaga because it never ended. It just got faster.
Right.
You know, there was no end level.
I didn't like that they were the same game though.
They were pretty close. Well, they had some differences, you know, because in Space Invaders they go back and forth, and as you shoot them, it starts to go faster.
Right.
Galaga had things that would actually swoop down and drop missiles at you, and you know, even some of them had tractor beams. You know, they didn't have that in the Space Invaders.
I wonder who made that game. Let's see, the Atari 2600. Do you remember that? Did you have that 2600?
I never had it, but I did.
You never had it. Like Missile Command. You never played Missile Command?
I played that in the arcade.
Oh, they had it. Okay.
That was better in the arcade because it was with a trackball.
Oh, right.
So
now, why doesn't? So when I was like a teenager, there's a place called Arnie's Place, and it was owned by the Bally's family. You know the Bally's from the pinball.
Yep.
So they owned this huge arcade in my town that I grew up in. They had. Now I was a teenager, so they had every game like ever made. You know, back when arcades were cool. Why did they stop arcades? I take my kids to the arcade now. The arcade games are they're horrific. Every game is either a shooting game or a game to win like tickets.
Yep. Or it's a riding game.
Why do they do that?
I don't know. I literally don't know.
I mean, they ruined it because that was a great experience going to the arcade. You could play all the Nintendo games. Just they were a lot harder. Like Kung Fu, the karate game on Nintendo.
There was a couple different ones. The biggest one that I remember was Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, Ninja Gaiden. Yeah, that was a good game. That was made by Tengen, I think it was. Tengen. Yeah,
that was a tough game.
Kung Fu. I think it was Kung Fu. That was made by Nintendo, but that was easy to beat at home. At the arcade, impossible.
What was fun? A buddy of mine, his son wanted a Switch. And so his dad said, okay, look, I'll buy you a Switch. You beat Ninja Gaiden on Nintendo.
Right.
8 months. He still hasn't done it.
Really?
Yep. The kid's good too.
Yeah, I had probably almost every game for the Nintendo. RC Pro-Am was one of my favorite games. I could play that game forever.
See, I was never one for racing.
Really?
Know? Other than
you didn't like Excite Bike?
Oh yeah, okay. Excite Bike was cool.
I mean, that was great, especially when you build your own track.
Yeah, okay. Those ones were cool. That's true.
They got to bring back the old school arcade. My bucket list is to get a Miss PacMan game.
What was that one? Hang on. There was one that I remember. I think it was called Road Rage.
Oh yeah, yes. I remember with the Nitro. Where you could buy off. It was called Off Road. Is that what you're thinking of?
Okay. Nope, that's not the one. Because there was two versions. One was on a motorcycle, and then the second one was almost Mad Max style.
Oh, okay.
Where you get in and you got the big breather on the front, and
right.
you're trying to run cops off the road. Oh, what was that called? Dang nabbit.
Now you won't be able to describe it either, and Google won't be able to tell you what the answer is.
Nope. Oh, yes, it was Road Rage.
Road Rage? I don't remember that game. I remember Off Road, where you could buy it. You could, every time you won the race, you got money. You won money, so you could like build up your truck, your like monster truck.
Oh, and actually, I'm wrong. This looks like this one came out in 2017. Son of a gun! I gotta remember it was for Sega Genesis. That much I remember.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, interesting.
I don't know how I'm gonna find that.
Now, did you guys have did you have arcades where you grew up, or not really?
Oh yeah, we had two big ones. And like
I need a documentary done to tell me why they stopped making arcade games.
Road Rash.
I never heard that game. I never heard of that game.
Yep, that was it. Road
What
Rash.
What year did that come out? 86?
Excuse me. If I'm not mistaken, this was actually late 80s, mid 90s. 1991.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember, I think it was Road Rash 2 or something. Road Rash 3 had Outshined in it. That was one of the songs you could listen to while you're running around beating people off motorcycles.
Yep.
Man, now I want to play that.
One of the my like things that I have to do. So, did you ever play Miss Pac-Man at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you know how there's two versions of Miss Pac-Man? There's the regular slow version, and then there's like the hyperspeed version.
Oh, okay. I've heard of. I never played the hyperspeed one.
All right, so if there's a hyperspeed version, I've never met a high score that I haven't been able to beat.
Really?
Yeah, like I'd say I'm probably in the top 0.5% of Miss Pac-Man players in the world.
Because I used to love playing Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah, one of the things that I really want to do is buy like a vintage Miss Pac-Man game with the original cabinet, everything in working order. I've called so many places to try to find one, and they are so tough to find in good working order because they came out in probably early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So we're 20 years later. But I would love to be able to find. I don't want to find one that I found some that have been like refurbished, but I want to find like a brand new one that hasn't really been touched for whatever reason, and I want to get that bad boy down here in my basement.
That would be a blast.
I mean, I could play that game for hours.
A friend of mine, that's what he collects, is the vintage video games and pinball machine. He's got the Tron.
Wait, like the arcade, like the cabinets and everything.
Yeah, he's got the Tron.
Wow. Okay. What else does he have?
Oh God.
Donkey Kong? Does he have Donkey Kong?
There was a Donkey Kong. There's a wrestling one.
Wait, pro wrestling, the one where you have to the only way to win is to win by count out, where you throw the guy out of the ring with the superstar or the masked superstar.
See, when we first started the Comic-Con, one year, this gentleman Dave came and brought a whole bunch of retro games.
Okay.
I never got to play any, but all of those were sold to my friend. So there's a Ninja Turtles one. I remember that.
Yeah. Well, that was probably 90s, early 90s.
But there was a wrestling one. There was Donkey Kong. Like I said, the Tron one just blew my mind because I hadn't seen one of those since the arcade.
I'll tell you a game that I loved the concept for, but I thought the gameplay was terrible. Was Q*bert.
Oh, I love a new one on PS4.
Oh, really?
Q*bert Reboot.
Okay.
It's got the original and it's got a new version.
Really?
Yeah, and the new version.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna tell you, I bought a couple games on my PS4. Like old school. I don't think they're the same game though. Like I bought I just downloaded Contra. Remember Contra?
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's different. It's not the original game, But there's a couple scenes that I'm like, man, that wasn't the way it was before. You had to go this, you had to do this, you had to go this way, or
And
you
see,
can't,
the
you
only
can't get
one
30 free guys.
the only one I know that actually releases the old style games is Nintendo. Like if
Okay,
you go into their library and you download Legend of Zelda, it's the original freaking
but you
game.
can't do that to PlayStation. You have to do it to the Switch, right?
For PlayStation games, yeah. Can you do it?
No, you can't download. You can't download Nintendo games to play to Sony.
No, because I've got a Wii U upstairs and I've got like
Okay.
the original.
Yeah, so I have this. I have the Switch. Yeah, I've been wanting to buy an original Nintendo too, just so I could start playing all the old school games. But I love Cuber. I also was obsessed with Marble Madness.
Oh, Chaos. Oh, what was that one? Bubble Trouble.
Oh yeah,
There's two-
Bubble. Yeah, Bubble
the
Bubble
dragon.
Bobble. Was it Bubble Bobble?
Bubble Bobble. That's it. Yes.
Yeah. And then they had the remember the Popeye game? That was a great game too.
Oh, yes.
That was a good game. And the
I got in
Jaws
trouble.
was a great game. But the game that I liked at the arcade was what was the game where you had to like give everyone a beer and the mugs would fall off like Saloon or something like that?
Tapper.
Is that what it was? Oh, maybe that's what it was. You had to like slide the beer down the
then
counter.
Get the empty glass before it hit the floor.
Yes.
Tapper. Oh, hang on. Tapper game. I'm looking this up now.
I can't see anything wrong with today's youth when they go into an arcade. And the only thing they can do is either kill animals or shoot each other with these fake guns, as opposed to what we got to do. You know, break high scores, stuff like that.
There, add that. Is that the one you're thinking?
Yeah, that's a great call by you. It's a root beer. I thought it was an actual beer.
Well, it couldn't be beer in a video game.
Why?
Because that's alcohol. Kids can't play games with alcohol. Not during that period.
Oh, you know what other game I loved? Dig Dug.
Yes.
Dig Dug was a phenomenal game.
I used to love that one with the little pump where you had to pump them up and blow them up.
Yes, I don't even know what the object of the game was. I don't know what the characters were, but I love that game, and I love the Dig Dug and Burger Time were kind of the same game, I think.
Dig Dug, the only thing you had to do was not let the monsters get to the surface.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Wait, so what did you have to do? You had to keep blowing stuff up?
Well, you would dig holes and they would follow you around. But
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then you wanted to trap them so that you could throw a hose at them and blow them up.
Right, okay.
But yeah, Burger Time. God, I remember that one too.
This is what I'm talking about. Why can't they make good games like this? Honestly, next time you get a chance, go to the arcade when the coronavirus is gone, and every single game has a gun attached to it.
Yep.
With no plot whatsoever.
Yep. It's just shooting crap.
I mean, I don't understand. Terrible. I feel bad that my kids will never be able to experience, you know, those upright arcade cabinets where you got to play like cool games like that.
Exactly. We watched Stranger Things, I think it was.
Yeah.
And they go into one of these kind of things, and I was trying to tell my son, this is what arcades are.
Yeah, because they don't know what that is, right?
Yep.
Like I take my kid. We go to an arcade, you know, during the summer, and we play the like the old school, the bubble hockey games. Remember those games?
Yep.
You know, the Canada. Oh no, it would be like United States versus Canada. Well, actually, what version would you have? We had the United States versus Russia.
It was the big dome, right?
Yeah. So what version would you have? You wouldn't have U.S. versus Russia. That wouldn't make any sense.
No, I think we had Canada versus Russia.
Okay. That would make more sense.
I think. I'm drawing a blank. I know a couple of them that I played, they were just colors. One was red, one was blue.
Oh, okay. Yep. Cool. Yeah, that's the man. I need to do an arcade episode.
And once I'm done here, I'm going to go upstairs and look because apparently for PS4 there's Road Redemption, and it's a
So wait,
spiritual.
how do you get these? Do you order them or you just download them?
If I can get the physical game, I prefer it. But for something like this, I'll probably just download it.
And does that take up a lot of space when you do that?
I've got a 4 terabyte external. So
For your PlayStation?
Yep.
How do you do that?
Plug it in the front.
I'm confused. You mean where the USB part goes?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know you can do that.
There's 2 USBs up there. Right now I have them both use it, but one of them I have a plate underneath my PS4 that's a fan.
Okay.
So it keeps it cool. So it's plugged into one USB, and the other USB is a 4 terabyte external hard drive.
Well, how do you use your controllers then?
Oh, I have a charging station.
That just plugs in to the wall?
Yeah, it plugs into the wall, and I set them in the charging station so it keeps them charged.
Oh, good for you, man.
So yeah, I never have to plug anything into my PS4.
Have you played the Spider-Man game?
Yes,
It's a great game.
dude, I love that game.
I just beat it, and then my kids have beat it like twice. They love playing it.
Yep. I beat it, and then I let Cam play it, and Cam walked through it so fast it made me sick.
Now, was there a? Did you ever play the Batman game for PS3, Arkham Asylum?
I played all of them.
They don't have. Do they have a Batman one for PS4?
Yeah, Arkham Knight.
Oh, Arkham Knight. I didn't know that.
It's the reason I boycotted the PS4 for the longest time.
Because because why?
Because I had Arkham Asylum, Arkham Origins, and Arkham City. And they said, here's the conclusion on this brand new system. And I'm thinking, you dicks, okay? Got those 3.
Right.
You put it on a brand new system.
Well, the PS5 is coming out, right?
It's been in the works for a while. So, yeah.
And I heard that they're going to have backwards compatibility.
See, every system always says they will when it starts talking. And very few have.
Yeah, because there were some PlayStation 1 games that I would love to be able to play.
Luckily, you can buy some of those PS1 games in the PS Store.
Oh, you can? Oh, interesting.
I've got Resident Evil 1 and 2, and what's the other one?
Like, I like that game, Cool Borders, I think it was called.
I don't know that one.
The snowboarding game.
Oh, I remember the snowboarding game. I don't know.
It might have been like PS2. And I like the Tony Hawk games from the original PlayStation.
See, I have to be honest, I wasn't a PlayStation guy till 3.
Oh, really?
So
what were you playing before that?
Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I was not a Nintendo guy. After the first one, until the Switch, I had never bought another Nintendo product.
Oh, dude, you want to play a wrestling game? N64, No Mercy. That is the best wrestling game I have ever played.
Who's in it?
Everybody from that period. Like literally anybody. And that was with Creation too, because when I wrestled, I put my character in there, and it looked really good. Better than me normally.
Oh, interesting. Does it have all the legends too, or no?
I believe it does. I'm gonna have to look that up now because I can't remember.
Can you ask that question to Sid, by the way?
Which one?
I'm always fascinated. Like, what is it like when you see yourself in a video game?
Yeah, no doubt.
I want to know how does that work? Like, do they get paid for that? Do they get paid based on how many games are sold? Is it a one-time thing? Like, how does that work?
Usually it's a royalty per game. So if you have a likeness in a game, you would get 10 cents per game or something. Like, I'm just throwing out random numbers. So that if a whole bunch of games sold, you would get a whole bunch of dimes,
I don't even know. I am fascinated how that works, though. I always wonder that with like EA Sports when they would do think about when they do like Madden, right? There's got to be 500 players that are in the game. Are they paying out 500 people every time they sell one copy?
Actually, yeah, I gotta wonder. Yeah, now I'm curious too. But there's No Mercy.
Oh, okay.
And dude, it was the best game.
Can I play this on the Switch?
I don't know. I've tried to find it on the Wii U, and I can't.
The only wrestling game I've ever played was the one from Acclaim. on the regular Nintendo, where it had a Hogan and Andre on the cover, with like Bam Bam Bigelow was in it.
Okay, yep. Now, obviously, you can tell the graphics were N64 graphics.
Yep.
But man, the gameplay was just crazy. They had ladder matches, they had Texas Tornado matches. Like you could literally do anything.
Did you do a lumberjack match?
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of lumberjack matches.
Yeah, and now I'm noticing Seth Rollins. Like, obviously, people are creating brand new characters in this game. There's John Cena because he was not in the original. Its character creation was insane. Yeah.
What year was this?
Let me see here.
That's got to be what, 2002?
Game was released in 2000.
2000, okay.
So yeah, that pretty much lets you know which wrestlers are in it.
95 to like 2003. I have no idea what happened in the world.
Yeah, wrestling.
I 8 years of my life, I don't remember anything.
Why fans still love No Mercy, a 15-year-old wrestling game.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Dude, it's so good. It is. It legit is.
I didn't realize that you were a big game guy.
Oh yeah.
Do you bring anyone to when you have your Comic-Cons that are from the gaming community?
We haven't yet. I've actually approached a couple people now that have.
Okay.
Done video game voices, but we haven't yet.
Do you know anyone from that community or not? Or no?
Nothing of a prominent nature.
Okay.
My buddy's wife was in Far Cry 5.
Okay.
That's my closest, Have you ever played Far Cry 5?
No.
Oh, dude, that game's insane. I love that game.
I've been looking for games that have a storyline, though.
This is one.
Okay.
And it's nice because it's not a continuing storyline. Every Far Cry is different.
Okay.
Far Cry 3 is about these people partying on a beach and an island, and then they get kind of away from the group, and suddenly they're part of looks like a rebel thing going on.
Yeah.
So you spend the rest of the time trying to rescue your friends from these rebels while trying not to get killed yourself. Far Cry 5 is about a cult in, looks like Nebraska. And you're in this valley area playing a cop that went in to arrest the leader. And things go sideways. You're now stuck in the valley and you have to try and take out the 3 different leaders to get to the main one.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and that's my friend's wife plays one of the characters named Tammy. She's part of a resistance in the upper area.
Okay. Far Cry 5. And what is that? What system is that on?
PS4.
Okay.
1 second. Share. And there. It's loading in.
Oh, okay.
That's the box.
Now, when so she's a character in the game?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you don't have to give me details, but when you get to do that, like, do you make out really well doing that, or is that like just like a normal job?
From what I understand, it's a normal job.
So you don't become like a millionaire.
No.
Okay.
Here we go. There we go. That's the character she plays in Far Cry.
Really? 5. So does that look like her? Or is it just the voice?
Oh, it's definitely her voice. But here, tell you what, I'm gonna pull up her picture real quick, and you be the judge. Sarah Booth. She lives in LA now. Yep, there she is.
Oh yeah, she looks just like her. That's crazy.
So, there's that, and there's that.
Yeah, that's identical. That looks just like her. How do you become a video game person?
She just auditioned for it.
That seems like, I feel like I can do that.
Oh, that would be a blast. And also in Far Cry 5.
What game would you have wanted to be in?
The Arkham series. I love those ones.
Who would you have been? Like one of the bad guys?
Sure. Yeah. Just make me anything. I don't care.
One of the henchmen?
Exactly.
I'll tell you what, Spider-Man was kind of the same thing as Batman, wasn't it? A little bit.
It kind of was.
Because there was so in Batman you could like hang upside down and capture the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Spider-Man you just had to like hover over and then you could hang the other guy upside down.
I think it was a bit more than Batman only because of the web slinging.
Yeah, I prefer. If I had to pick, I prefer the Batman game over
I think
Spider-Man.
I would too. Like Spider-Man was a blast, but
yeah,
that Batman series.
but I needed more with the car. I felt I needed more with the Batmobile.
Get Arkham Knight.
Okay.
Because that's legit why they never released it on 3. Is because they had the Batmobile in there now, and it took up so much processing power.
Oh.
The 3 could never run it.
Really? Why did they have to do that? That's okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took me like 4 hours to download that Spider-Man game when I bought it.
See, I bought the disc.
I had the disc, but you have to load it in, and then it has to load still.
Yeah. I must have got it right when it came out then, because it didn't take me. It took about an hour, and I was up and going.
All right. Well, even still, that's a long time, right? A Nintendo game would be like working right away.
Clunk, and you're off to the races.
Exactly. Is there a Batman and Robin game? Like, why is it? What about Robin? People forgot about Robin.
Well, Robin's in the games.
Okay. He wasn't in the Arkham Asylum.
Maybe he's just in Arkham Knight because they had Nightwing in the other ones.
Okay.
And Nightwing is the original Robin.
Right.
But in one of them, maybe it is just Arkham Knight. They have Tim Drake as Robin.
Huh. I'll have to get that one. Arkham Knight. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's a nice wrap up.
It doesn't help that the GameStops are all closed.
No, not at all.
So that doesn't help.
Actually, ours is open now.
Really?
Yeah, they can only have like 8 people in the store at a time.
Because my kid's been wanting me to go pick up MLB The Show. But the thing about sports games, like especially when I buy them for my kids, I kind of try to get them at the end of the season.
Yeah,
because they're a little bit cheaper. Well, see, and he's not going to play it enough to justify how much it costs.
Yeah, like when I think 2021s are going to come out, we pick up a 2020.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
All right, Rob. Listen, I appreciate you coming on tonight. What can we plug for you, buddy? Movie Madhouse.
Madhouse. Bits Radio, Vicious Circle.
And these are okay. Where can people find these?
All of them are on Stitcher, iTunes. They're all on the podcast search engines.
Okay. And you do run a Comic-Con normally, but because of everything happening, it's been canceled.
CK Expo. I'm now planning 2021. It takes place at the end.
Wait, is it 100% canceled or is it tentative right now?
It's 100% canceled.
100% canceled.
The only date we could have gotten was in July, and the city let us know about a month ago that all large gatherings are shut down to the end of August for sure.
Is there an idea to do it virtually like we did COVID-Con, or is that out of the question?
I've been doing it virtually here and there, not like COVID-Con, but I had a panel with one of our cosplayers. Actually had Rochelle come on and do a live panel, as a Q&A. So we've been doing little things like that, but that's about it.
Right.
And then I think the only other thing is the film festival, Chatham-Kent International Film Festival.
Yep.
And right now that's still a go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully things get back to somewhat normal.
Yes.
In the future. And tell you what, man, when you do the Comic-Con next year, I'm gonna come up for it. I've never been to Canada.
You got it.
I think I'm allowed to come into the country, but I'm not sure.
Well, this is the thing we found out too. We had Eddie Deason come up here from Greece.
Okay.
Right? He didn't have a passport. And it wasn't a big deal.
Oh, wait, I have a passport.
Then you're golden. He didn't. All he had to bring was his license and birth certificate to show he was an American citizen and where he lived.
Yep.
So, yeah,
cool,
you're
man.
golden. They just freak out for people going into the U.S., not out of.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're probably right.
Yeah.
All right, Rob. Well, listen. Thanks, buddy. I'm sure we'll be talking. But hey, the next time you'll be able to see Rob is June 14th at the next COVID-Con.
Same time you'll see Ed. Well, you'll
Yeah.
see him here much more, but
Right.
definitely June 14th.
Absolutely. All right, buddy. Thanks, man.
You got it, buddy.
All right, take care.